Imagine a chilling silence falling over a community. A sniper, hidden and unknown, strikes fear into everyone. This real-life story gripped Washington, D.C. for 23 harrowing days in October 2002. Today, we'll unravel the events of that terrifying spree. The D.C. sniper attacks began on October 2, 2002. This sniper was anyone but random to his victims. His goal was methodical, well-planned, and terrifyingly precise. Over those 23 days, 10 people fell victim to the sniper's deadly reach. The mastermind behind this horror was John Allen Muhammad. He worked alongside his teenage accomplice, Lee Boyd Malvo. Together they transformed into a nightmare, sparking widespread panic and chaos. Let's break down how their method worked. First, they used a blue Chevy Caprice. This vehicle became their hunting ground, providing mobility and cover. Instead of rushing their attacks, they chose strategic patience. They waited, watched as their targets went about their daily lives, blissfully unaware of the lurking danger. Each shot was deliberately aimed, each victim chosen with chilling calculation. Over time, fear permeated the very fabric of the community as people hesitated to go outdoors, to carry on with their routines. News reports flooded in, detailing the randomness of the attacks, yet underpinning them was a grim consistency, a pattern that would ultimately lead investigators to piece together the horrific puzzle. With every passing day, the calls for justice grew louder, and the desperate search for the elusive sniper intensified. Law enforcement officials were determined to end the spree, knowing that every moment counted in saving lives. The sniper's reign of terror was a stark reminder of how quickly normalcy could be shattered, igniting a desperate race against the clock, and plotted their next moves with deadly precision. They chose locations that enhanced their advantage, like parking lots and street corners, exploiting the unsuspecting nature of their victims. With every attack, their infamy grew. The fear they instilled became palpable, shrouding the city in a blanket of dread and desperation, and calculated their escape routes, leaving a chilling sense of vulnerability in the air. At last, after countless sleepless nights and tireless investigations, authorities were able to track down Muhammad and Malvo, bringing an end to their reign of terror. The community could finally begin to heal from the haunting ordeal, reclaiming their sense of safety and hope in the aftermath. The investigations revealed a shocking network of clues. Witnesses described a blue Chevy Caprice seen at multiple crime scenes, leading to a reveal that would take an entire community by surprise. As fear constricted daily life, people remained on edge, nervously glancing around at every sound. Law enforcement utilized every resource, analyzing ballistic evidence and public tips, while piecing together the narrative that would ultimately lead them to a break in the case. On October 24th, the breakthrough would come. An informant provided crucial details that would crack the case wide open. It was now a matter of apprehension before more lives could be taken. The targeted manhunt gained momentum, with FBI agents and local police forming joint task forces to ensure no lead went unexamined. Pressure mounted as the media focused intensely on each development, scrutinizing every piece of information shared. Meanwhile, communities came together in vigils, lighting candles and praying for the victims and their families, while signs sprouted in yards pleading for an end to the nightmare. The collective anxiety was palpable, yet also transformed into unity and resilience as local leaders urged citizens to remain vigilant without losing hope. In this critical moment, confidence in law enforcement surged, and the promise of justice began to illuminate the dark void created by fear. With every passing day, the surroundings echoed with a transformative spirit as law enforcement agencies raced against the clock. They set up checkpoints, canvassed neighborhoods, and employed advanced technology to track leads, fueled by the urgency of each fleeting hour. The blue Chevy Caprice, once a symbol of terror, became the focal point of an elaborate investigation. Citizens began to report sightings, recalling the vehicle with heightened awareness, which underscored the community's shift from despair to determination. As agencies collaborated, information began to coalesce into a clearer picture of the perpetrators, inching the investigators closer to disrupting the deadly pattern. Tensions ran high, but alongside fear emerged a powerful will to reclaim safety, as hope sparked within the hearts of those longing to close this painful chapter. As police closed in, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Radio crackled with urgency as the task force engaged in a well-coordinated operation to apprehend the notorious duo. Teams monitored known locations, anticipating every move while processing tips flooding in from aware citizens. The elusive nature of the snipers was both a curse and a catalyst, propelling the community into action. Overhead, helicopters whirred, their bright searchlights cutting through the heavy darkness, illuminating the streets where fear had reigned for too long. Communication between the various agencies grew seamless. Everyone recognized the critical importance of swift action. The collaboration ignited a spark of hope, making each citizen feel they played a role in reclaiming their city. Now, it was not just about seeking justice for the 10 lives cut short, but about restoring a sense of safety to the community. With each hour that passed, anticipation grew, as everyone prayed for a swift end to the terror that had enveloped their lives for far too long. As dusk settled, anxiety morphed into determination. The community's resilience became a force of its own. The community emerged united, bearing the scars of fear, but also the strength of hope. Together, they rebuilt their sense of normalcy, demonstrating that even in the darkest times, resilience can shine through. The nightmare may have concluded, but the lessons learned would linger, shaping a vigilant and bonded community for years to come. Amidst the chaos and desperation, the first signs of breakthrough emerged as witnesses came forward with vital information about the blue Chevy Caprice. Each new detail seemed to breathe life into the stalled investigation, transforming mere whispers of hope into bustling activity as detectives sought to connect the dots between the reported sightings and the patterns of the attacks. Eyewitnesses described the car's distinct features, relaying crucial descriptions that painted a clearer picture of the elusive duo behind the terror, rekindling the faith that justice was still achievable. As tips flooded the precinct, the determination of the investigators radiated through the community, restore a spirit that had been dimmed by fear. With each passing day, the pressure intensified on law enforcement as they raced against time. The media frenzy surrounding the investigation painted a vivid picture of a city on edge. Every development led to both renewed fear and an increased resolve among citizens. As hundreds gathered for candlelight vigils each night, their unified voices echoed a desperate yearning for safety and justice in a world that had been turned upside down. The resilience displayed by the community became a beacon of hope, reminding each individual that even darkness could not snuff out their spirit. Together they stood watch, vigilant and determined, transforming their fear into unwavering courage. It became clear that this collective strength would play a pivotal role in the hunt for the sniper, as the community united to confront the chilling reality they faced. The call for justice was no longer a solitary effort. It was a shared commitment, echoing through neighborhoods and corridors of authority alike. As October 24th dawned, excitement buzzed through the air, the weight of uncertainty making every sound feel amplified. News of the informant's crucial tip spread rapidly, reigniting hope that the nightmare might finally conclude. Law enforcement agencies worked feverishly to act on the information. FBI agents and local police, now operating under a unified banner, laid plans to search locations indicated by the informant, ensuring no opportunity for escape remained. Concerns shifted to concrete strategies as the atmosphere tingled with an urgency that mirrored the community's unyielding hope for resolution. Meanwhile, citizens remained alert, sharing updates and intensifying their vigilance while offering support to one another. No longer merely victims, they had become active participants in the fight for their safety. The collaboration between law enforcement and the public fostered camaraderie and trust, further empowering their joint task. It felt as if the city itself was finally rising from the shadows of fear. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the streets, anticipation hung in the air like a palpable force. Each corner of the community buzzed with whispered conversations as families and friends exchanged thoughts on the informant's revelation. Citizens took to their porches and gatherings, eyes glued to any movement, determined not to miss a sign of hope or danger alike. In this moment of unity, familiar faces became allies, bonded by a shared purpose. It was clear that the fight for safety had become their collective mission. Meanwhile, law enforcement agencies, fortified by the support of the community, positioned themselves strategically, ready to respond at a moment's notice, armed with the knowledge that every second counted in their pursuit of justice. The convergence of action fueled an iron resolve, painting a vivid picture of resilience amid the pervasive fear. In the heart of this mounting tension, every individual played a crucial role in reclaiming their peace by standing together against the darkness that had threatened to engulf their lives. The community's palpable anxiety transitioned into determined activism as night fell, with residents organizing groups to patrol their neighborhoods, shining flashlights into the shadows. A feeling of unity swept through, allowing them to reclaim their streets and support each other, determined to not let fear dictate their lives any longer. Many began to share personal stories of fear and bravery during the ordeal, reinforcing their connection as they recalled experiences that solidified their bond and resilience. With every gathering, they strategically exchanged information, ensuring everyone remained alert to suspicious activities, echoing the police's calls to stay vigilant. The snipers' actions had awakened a collective strength that was as powerful as it was inspiring, with each person now standing sentinel against the darkness that had crept into their lives. As October 24th unfolded, the adrenaline was palpable. Law enforcement prepared to confront the looming dread. The mood echoed the urgency of the moment, everything hinging on the informant's revelation, the location where the sniper and his accomplice had been spotted. In a tactical display of precision, the teams fanned out across the area, their hearts pounding with a shared resolve to restore peace. Citizens watched in anxious anticipation, their collective breath held, knowing the confrontation could finally reveal the faces of the demons haunting their days and nights. The air buzzed with a mixture of fear and hope. They were ready to reclaim their city from the grips of terror. As the clock struck dusk, the streets of Washington, D.C. were alive with heightened anticipation. Law enforcement, fortified by technological advancements and community tips, prepared for the decisive operation ahead. Officers positioned themselves strategically, their breath visible in the chilly air, each heartbeat synchronized with the rhythm of the night. A palpable tension enveloped the area, while citizens, gathered in their homes and outside, shared hushed conversations about the impending confrontation, their collective will to reclaim safety stronger than ever. As darkness deepened, the law enforcement teams executed their planned approach, their movements a blend of urgency and precision. Each officer understood the gravity of this moment. The lives of countless citizens rested on their ability to neutralize the threat swiftly. Amidst the tense atmosphere, the community held its breath, knowing that the culmination of their collective hope and resolve was moments away from materializing. Families huddled together, whispering prayers for safety, their hearts intertwined with the fate of the investigation. In the distance, the faint sound of sirens pierced the night, a harbinger of impending action as the officers prepared to confront the unknown. As law enforcement closed in, a sense of urgency permeated the air. Radios crackled with commands as officers positioned themselves around critical vantage points, gearing up for what could be a life-altering confrontation. Communities held tight to their hope, aware that their combined resilience was about to be tested one final time. The faint whir of helicopters overhead provided a surreal backdrop amidst the palpable tension, illuminating the darkened streets where fear had taken root. With every heartbeat, expectations grew, igniting a mix of anxiety and anticipation that echoed through the neighborhood. The stakes were higher than ever, not just another night of agony and uncertainty, but the moment their tenacious spirit would drive them toward justice. As the operation commenced, officers moved with silent efficiency, their presence a stark reminder of the community's resolve to end the reign of terror. Each step was calculated, each strategy discussed in hushed tones as they encircled the target area. With every second ticking away, the weight of expectations pressed heavily on their shoulders, knowing that the safety of innocents hinged on their actions. Shadows danced across the pavement, illuminated by dim streetlights providing only sparse visibility, while tension crackled like static in the air. The world outside faded into silence. Every heart ached with anticipation as they awaited the moment that could bring both closure and justice. A deep breath rippled through the officers, mentally uniting them in their shared purpose, not just to apprehend, but to reassure the city that hope prevails even against the deepest shadows of fear. A sudden stillness blanketed the scene as officers whispered their final instructions, hearts racing in sync with the impending confrontation. This was the moment they had prepared for, each second crafted by countless sleepless nights and fervent hopes. The dim lights flickered above, casting eerie shadows that mirrored their determination to reclaim peace. As they moved swiftly yet silently, the anticipation hung thick in the air, teetering on the edge of a community's yearning for justice and safety. The moment arrived when hope and determination converged into action. Law enforcement sprang into a well-coordinated operation. Silently, officers moved through the shadows, gripping their weapons as they approached the target with a shared resolve. Through this darkness, citizens held on to the belief that solidarity would finally vanquish their fears,